Hello friends, welcome again to another video. So in case you're new here, my name is Agnes de Bezenac, and on this channel I'm all about journals, well-being, self-care, confidence, and sharing with you a little bit of my life, a little bit of the lessons that I'm learning along the way of this journey. Today's video is sharing with you one of my journals. I call this my gratitude journal. I found this beautiful book and it just made me feel so cozy and warm. And what better way to use it than for a gratitude journal? To me, that's my safe place. I think gratitude is just a place that I feel good. I feel at my best because I'm constantly trying to find something that I'm grateful for, even during the tough moments. So I wanted to just take you a little tour of this book. So it's not finished. I'm still working through it, but I wanted to share with you in case it would be a little idea that you wanted to do or that you wanted to start. And I think the month of November is great as well to start a gratitude journal if you don't have one yet, because we're all about thankfulness, gratefulness, thinking about Thanksgiving this month, and it's just feeling warm and cozy inside as well. Kind of makes you want to cuddle up with a book, a journal, and write down those things that are special to you. So without more talking, let me just take you through it. There's plenty of blank spaces, as I said before, but I just wanted to give you a little sneak peek for now of what this journal has been and is for me today, because I think we change and evolve, and I love making space, making room for that. I don't feel you have to know ahead of time or have it all figured out what your journal is going to be from the start to the end, because I love the person that I'm becoming as I grow, as I go through difficulties and challenges and move past those things. I started this year in the month of August. Now we're in November, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to share it with you now, just to show you a little bit of how I started using it. So I divided up my book into 5 different areas that I kind of wanted to focus on in this gratitude book. So I called them appreciation, approval, admiration, attention, and affirmation. So each one is a little bit different. Maybe some blend into each other, but I wanted some categories because I didn't want to just have an empty book to get started with. And I love having lots of journals, but this time I decided I'm going to keep it all in one journal. I started with appreciation, and then I wrote myself something related to that. So this part of the book, which is this little section here, is I turn my focus to the positive, highlighting the moments that bring me joy, comfort, or deep satisfaction. I savor these moments with phrases like I'm grateful for or I appreciate, allowing myself to be specific and linger in the details that light up my heart. So that was just my little intro so I remember what this part is all about. I also wrote a little note. So these are more than just a thing or a happening. These are moments of joy. They don't need to be big and grand to be appreciated, but they need to be felt and savored. By writing them down here, I get to enjoy them a second time. By rereading this journal, I get to be encouraged and touched with joyful moments all over again, as often and as many times as I want. So that's a beautiful thing about a journal. You can always go back to this. That's a gratitude journal for me, a place to capture and keep safe all those little fond memories that might just last a few seconds, but here they can last for as long as I want them to. The more I write in here, the more I want to write in here, and the more ideas I get of things that feel like a little piece of magic in my life. And those are usually hidden in between some dark corners or some lonely valleys or challenge or difficulty. When I look for something to cheer me up, I always find it. always. That's one of the benefits about gratitude. It might be hard to get started, and sometimes it is for me as well. What's that first little detail, that little thing that's out of the norm, that's special, that's joyful? You know, all the benefits to having a little gratitude practice. I won't remind you of that here. I'm sure you can make yourself your own list and how it affects you and your life, or you can Google some from others and see how it benefits their lives if you have a hard time expressing it yourself. So I decided every day I'm going to write, well, every day. Not every day because, as you know, I have lots of other journals that I write in. But when I felt led, when I felt inspired, I just wrote a little something. Again, like it said here, a little happening, a little joyful moment. So as an idea, I wrote, I savor this quiet moment of journaling in the outdoors. Beautiful notebooks, a flowery pink tablecloth, surrounded by books I'm reading, my favorite cup of coffee, and the cherry on top with my cat on my lap. It's a little fresher out here this morning, but it's also an inner refresh of peace and calm, of hope and trust. When I pause to cherish this moment, every simple, tiny detail that makes it delightful, I feel that everything is going to be okay. So sometimes it's just a little note, a little letter to myself. It doesn't have to be big and grand. It's very simple things. And I write the date because I like to be reminded of when something happened. And occasionally I also glued little pieces of paper like this that I made and then printed out, ripped up. And I write little notes that I want to remind myself of as I go back to my journal. This one says, this book is something like a tour guide taking me through my life and pointing out the intricate architectural design. Gratitude leads me beyond the neighborhood of who I am into moments of purest grace and pleasure and most beautiful experiences of coming home to my soul where I feel like I truly belong. So sometimes I get a little bit more into my writing rather than just a little experience. So lately, I've actually been trying to do one every day, just even if it's short and sweet. Again, here, the most decadent luxuries in life are often the simplest. I definitely wanted to remind myself of that because it's so true. So what first seemed like a disappointment turned into a blessing. Great news. Had some low days, and then I always find something positive on that situation. Anyway, you get the idea, and I leave little spots like this so I can always go back and include something that I want to related to the topic of appreciation. Now, the next topic is approval. So approval is a place I honor my strengths and celebrate my achievements, no matter how small. I open myself to receive compliments and embrace positive feedback, giving myself the credit I deserve for my efforts and hard work. This part was quite important for me, especially during a moment where I didn't feel or receive much appreciation and validation from others in my work. I worked alone and it seemed like nothing was happening, nothing was moving, nothing was advancing, nobody was finding me, nobody was following me, and I really needed to get that appreciation and approval. And I realized that by giving it to myself, that's when others started giving it to me. I had to first validate me. I had to compliment myself and be okay with myself and feeling that I'm enough rather than always feeling I'm not what others want me to be. And that's why they're not appreciating me. But it wasn't the case. It was I needed to first do that inner work for me. I wrote a little something about approvals as well. Here is where I load up on love and goodness from others through compliments or kind words I receive. When I'm low and doubt myself, I can always come back here to remind myself of why I'm doing what I'm doing, or to receive a little gift of appreciation and validation. So that's what I decided to put here. I started off by approving of myself. I don't need anyone else to value me. I value me. I don't need anyone else to validate what I do or who I am. I validate what I do and who I am. It starts with me approving of myself first. Then the bungee jump of appreciation gets started, and on and on. I went through some of the reviews from my books, from my YouTube videos, from my website, and printed them out and cut them out and added them here. So these are little compliments from others that I received. And I love to go back to these because, again, like it says here, it reminds me of my why. Why am I doing this? Even if I don't feel that it's good enough, or even if I don't get much response from others, I can go back to these. And from these specific ones, and from these few people that follow me or that support me, that encourage me, that cheer me on, it makes my day. And I'm encouraged to keep going, even through the difficult times or the foggy days when I don't see really clearly where I'm going, or through all the questions and the doubts. I'm always touched and encouraged so much. So thank you to all of you who write in little notes. Please know that it means so much to me. And I do keep each one. It's hard to receive compliments from others. It's very hard. So this is also a challenge for me. That's why I cut them up and put them in here. I'm not going to read them to you because it is a bit, it is vulnerable to do. I also write here about those difficult situations or hard things that turn to good in some way. It's almost as if my approval and awareness and acceptance of them leads me to finding even more hidden gems in the rough rocks of life. My approval of these challenging moments always leads me to a beautiful life lesson or a new little sprout growing in some unexpected place, in some unusual or surprising way. So I wanted to also include that in this section of approval. Some things that I go through that are difficult, but the little light at the end of the tunnel maybe, or it turned to good in some way, and I want to be reminded of that. Oh, this is continuation from here. It's so easy to question myself on this new creative journey, especially when most people don't get what I'm doing. My friends and family don't understand. Sometimes I don't see things clearly either. So keeping track of these little cheerleaders and guiding lights on the way helps me stay on path and keep going even through the fog and darkness. I still have a few things to write, and maybe the in-between spots I'm going to take time to also approve of myself. This section is mainly for a place to receive compliments and to be humble enough to add them in here. Now, the next section is admiration. Here's where I take time to recognize the qualities I love in others and in the world around me. I celebrate the admirable traits and behaviors I notice, respecting and appreciating the contributions and achievements of those who inspire me. Their brilliance becomes a source of my own growth and inspiration. So this is a thank you to those that I admire, to those that I look up to those that I appreciate, that I respect, or that I love and treasure. And it always makes me happy. And I think this is part of giving as well. Maybe if I'm not even saying it in person, which I usually try to thank them and say these things in person, but there's something about admiring them, even to myself, even silently, quietly. You don't always have to do everything out in the open. And that's what's beautiful about a gratitude journal. This is your space. This is your book. So here I have some more spaces. And again, continued gluing a few little papers to add some things that stand out to me or maybe that jump out to me. I want to include them on those papers. So this is a place that I ground myself in the present, becoming mindful of my surroundings and the beauty in the details I might otherwise overlook. I tune into my emotions, both the highs and the lows, understanding that each one is shaping the person I'm becoming. So this is when I wanted to delve deeper a little bit more into certain situations. So, for example, I'm giving care and attention to what incredibleness and beauty could unfold in the new idea of these tea parties, reflecting on what's on the other side of my fears and discomforts, delving into the details of that little inspiration idea in my work. And I listed some ways. This is something I wanted to remember my go-to way to react to disappointments. This is something that I tell myself. I would prefer such and such to happen, this or that, or I would have preferred that this and this happen, but I'm not upset about it. So this is where I personalize it for each thing that I am going through. So, for example, I would have preferred that today was sunny so that I could go and take a walk and maybe film some of the beautiful nature around me. But I'm not upset about the gloom and the dark and the cold. So here's what I write. What did happen or I reflect on? Because it's okay. It's not going to ruin my day or my life or my weekend. Maybe I get to cozy up and wear my boots and wear my hat and scarf instead. And that's good too, because it makes me feel cozy inside and all bundled up. And that was just to give you the idea. So after that, as I was telling you, I like to grow and evolve with my journal. So here's one example, great example of that. I decided to start writing in this section some high fives in my life. So as you can see, I did it a few, and then I changed again. I wrote some high fives, 5 things I love about the weekend, 5 things I'm gifted and skilled in, 5 books I'm enjoying at the moment, activities, 5 activities with friends, favorite activities as a family, favorite activities with my husband, favorite foods and meals at the moment, things that make me laugh, favorite pieces of decor in my space or home, what I enjoy to keep myself fit, qualities I appreciate about myself, family souvenirs as a child. So as you can see, I needed some lifting up, maybe some own personal cheerleading from myself. So anyway, 5 things I'm proud to have accomplished. So these are, again, paying attention to those things, because it's quite hard, it's quite humbling and vulnerable to tell myself those things. So it takes paying attention. It takes being focused. It takes sitting down, making the time, writing these things down. Anyway, so if you're feeling low about yourself, or I really encourage you to do a little high fives like this. It really helped me. And then I was able to move on into something else. Sometimes when I feel stuck with paying attention to certain details of my life, or maybe even appreciating something, I use my little cards from my Tea Time Treasures from the month of July. So in case it's something that you haven't used yet, these are great to go along with your little gratitude journal. This is my little challenge to myself, just to pay more attention to the wonderful things, goodness, and treasured moments in my life. And when I feel stuck, when I don't know what to write, what to appreciate, what to approve of, what to pay attention to, I pick out one of these cards. These are things that I can find something to be grateful for. These are topics, actually. Just a topic sometimes sparks a inspiration, sparks a reason to be grateful. So instead of being grateful or appreciating something about my day, maybe if I had a really low day, instead I'll pick one of these cards and a feeling energetic. Okay, maybe I felt super energetic and I cleaned up my whole house. So right away, it gave me something to be grateful for. Another one is helping someone. So being grateful for the fact that you help someone. Yesterday, I did some renovations in our rental, and there was somebody there, a neighbor there, and he came just to hang out around us, and he was just happy to talk about things, to talk about the work, to talk about his work in his house, and to me that was helping someone, helping make his day. How my body moves, so that's a good one. When I'm not feeling super good about my body, always paying attention to how my body moves or works in some way. I can walk with my 2 feet. I can move my hands and do so many different gestures. I can cook a meal. I can draw. I can paint. So that always helps me find something to be grateful for. A finished project, a homemade tasty treat that my family appreciated, maybe a fitness goal that I reached. I could be grateful for showing up authentically on video. I'm being grateful that I'm starting to show up, showing my face once in a while. So not in this video because I'm sharing a journal, but on some other videos, it's really hard to talk behind the camera, but I'm celebrating the few little times that I am doing it. a new adventure, a good meal, a peaceful moment. So anyway, there's lots and lots of them. In case there's something that you would like to use related to your gratitude journal. So these are things you can add in here, or they're just things that you can reflect on. You can pick one a day. You can pick a few throughout the day during your in-between moments. In case you're interested, you can find these on my website. I'll put it in the link below. Back to my journal. So we have one last section called Affirmation. I don't have very many written here because I have another whole book for affirmations, but I did want to include that here because it just, again, sometimes I am grateful for something and I want to write it down so that I can be grateful for it again another time. So here is where I speak to myself with love, crafting positive affirmations that uplift my self-esteem. I celebrate my strengths, acknowledging my worth, and allowing these affirmations to deepen my gratitude. This gentle self-talk helps me focus inward, recognizing the beauty of my own contributions to the world. So I think everyone could use a little bit more loving self-talk. So this is a good reminder for me to give myself that love and a gentle nudge. If it's something that I want to learn or grow into, I can write it here, and it will always be loving. I think that's what affirmations are. They're always positive and loving, and that's what it needs to be in this book. I wrote, my body's amazing, even if I don't always wake up in the morning feeling that way about myself. It's a message I'm striving to embrace, choosing to share, and trying to model. My body shows up for me every single day of my life, and that's worth appreciating. It's easy and common to get critical of my body, but I figure out how to look at it differently so that loving it again becomes possible. I cheer for the person in the mirror. I confront the uncomfortables and embrace those imperfections because it turns out they all belong to me. Either I get rid of them or I start being comfortable with them. They make me who I am. So yes, all the pimples, all the wrinkles, all the blotches on my face and on my skin, all the cellulite on my legs. But I start being comfortable with them because they make me who I am. There are many challenges related to the outside gaze. When I look at myself from the outside, am I good enough? How do I look like to others? But then I lose my power. I allow self-love and inner wisdom and the little midget of self-esteem I have to take the reins, to prove to myself my worth and beauty that's not dependent on the outward show. I write and tell my body what it's capable of on different focuses in my health, creativity, achievements, anything related to others. Instead of focusing on how it looks, I become empowered as I dwell on how it functions. So that to me was a key point. Sometimes when I go back to these and read them and want to remind myself of them, I'll maybe highlight it or underline. Instead of focus on how it looks, I become empowered as I dwell on how it functions. The more I love my body, the better I'll want to take care of it. When I'm giving myself what I need and nurturing it with love and care, I am my body again, and I don't judge it. Feeding myself from the inside out, I experience a richer idea of myself. That's my kind of interior design, and I feel at home again, fully embracing and belonging to this beautiful body. My body plays a role in everything that makes my life fulfilling. I appreciate it and load it with love and care. So here's a time when I needed some personal affirmations related to my body image. Each page can be even a different topic of affirmation or validation that is needed. So that was the gist of my book. And as I said before, I always love to add to my journal. So I'm thinking today I'll take you along because I wanted to include something else in here. So I have here a few little clippets and cuttings of words or phrases from magazines, and I think it would be fun to include some of these. So some are probably totally off the topic, so I really need to take a good look at them. So you'll see I have a mix of English and French, and I'm going to use whichever ones kind of speak to me right now. So merci, that's a perfect one for my gratitude journal. So I just wanted to show you with this little idea example that really your gratitude journal can have anything in it. If you want, you could doodle in it, you could craft in it, you could paint in it. Just for something different, I'm going to add a few little phrases or words. Oh, this is beautiful for nature. So this time I'm not going to add pictures, because if I start adding pictures, it's going to be full and I won't have space to write anymore. So bien-être is, in French, it's well-being. This is what my channel's all about. This is my journey. So I need to find out where to put them. Maybe as I cut them, I'm going to glue them in place. Otherwise, I'm going to lose track. So, merci. Maybe I'm going to put this in admiration. This is where I say thank you to those that I love. I think it makes it so much fun to go back to the journals when you have little clippets like this. It kind of even reminds you or takes you to the place when you got it or when you found it, when you cut it out from your magazine. These are some, if I have some blank spaces, I can even include little things here. Of course, if you wanted to go even further, you can doodle around it. This is, of course, how much time you have, how much time you want to take. Sometimes this is my little meditation time. I sit quietly and it kind of helps me focus on just this, nothing else. I don't want to think too hard because otherwise I end up not putting anything down. Forever dream. Oser se faire plaisir. This is dare to enjoy yourself. So definitely moments of gratitude is thinking about those pleasureful moments, joyful moments, things that make me happy. So anyway, so right now it might not look like much. You just cut out here and there, but I think when I go back to the book, it will just be an extra joy and fun to see all these little notes and to see these phrases and words. So I think approval was a place where I could write down difficult situations or hard things that turn to good in some way. So I want to remind myself that it's okay. Whatever happens, it's okay. C'est ok in French. Si tu fais toujours ce qui t'intéresse, cela fait à moi une personne satisfaite. If you're always doing what interests you, it makes one more person feel satisfied. I like this. So to me, gratitude is remembering those things that interest me and that I feel satisfied and content with. Satisfaction, content, gratitude, it kind of falls together for me. Petit plaisir, little pleasures. Again, where can I put this? I'm going to put this in attention. This is a time for you to have fun. As you can tell, there's no strict plan or strict way to do it. So next time you have some magazines or old books or something, just treat yourself to cutting a few out, cutting a few favorite phrases that speak to you or that maybe one day you will want to keep in your book. Si on accepte la contrainte, une créativité nouvelle peut naître. Bask in goodness. So some are beautiful little quotes that I kept, but they don't fit in with my book or they're not calling out to me. Oh, I like this one. It says, tools to help the brain handle the difficulties, I guess, or the challenges. Be flexible, related to your ideas, related to yourself and the world. Don't look for perfection, but rather progress. Create connections with others. Try to think and reflect in a positive manner. Never underestimate the power of humor. So I like that in my gratitude journal. So eventually, maybe I should update you on how this journal goes, because I have no idea where it's going to take me. This is just the beginning. I'm excited to continuing it. I'm excited to play around with it and get inspired, get ideas. Thank you for joining me here. I hope it gives you a little idea of something that you can do in case you wanted a little project for before your Thanksgiving meal, or for this time of year, or maybe a little gift to yourself before the festivities, in case you have a beautiful empty book that you want to fill up. And I hope to see you in the next video with maybe another journal tour. See you later.